Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Daily Cannon's Tactics Board. Stephen Bradley here, bringing you the analysis and review of Arsenal's return back to form, at least in the Premier League, after going to St Mary's Stadium tonight and beating Southampton 3-1. And over the next 15 to 20 minutes, we're going to go over the changes that Arsenal made after losing to this Southampton side 1-0 on Saturday, how they adapted to Southampton's pressing schemes and tactics, and how in essence they fought fire with fire, and how a couple of tweaks in the formation and a couple of obviously player changes as well helped Arsenal push back Southampton and basically almost beat Southampton at their own game. And if you do enjoy this video, or if you do enjoy this analysis, please feel free to either like the video, comment, or subscribe, and just any feedback is greatly appreciated. These are still new to the site. We're still getting the run of things. We're still trying to figure out what we can do with the background, the lighting, etc. Even this. But any feedback you have on the content that we're making at the moment is always greatly appreciated. And speaking about the game, what was interesting as a front was the fact that Arteta did make a couple of tweaks to the formation, but nothing groundbreaking, nothing very radical, nothing very, it was subtle changes, and the change of personnel helped, of course. Like instead of Gabriel, David Luiz came in. Cedric was kept at left back. Partey was brought into the side instead of El Neni to bring a little bit more press resistance in the midfield. Smith Rowe returns, Saka returns, and they did help, obviously. But the two biggest factors in this game were, one, Arsenal's ability to beat Southampton's press and make sure that they weren't pinned at all times, and B, Southampton's fullbacks. And it'll illustrate just how a well-oiled machine like Southampton can go awry just because there's one or two weak links. And a good example of this is Arsenal's first goal. Because let me show you the heat maps. This is the FA Cup side game between Southampton and Arsenal last Saturday. And as you can see, Arsenal had 707 touches of the ball, Southampton had 487. And most of Arsenal's ball, obviously, goalkeeper had it here, Bellerin would have it here, Xhaka would sit back at left back / left midfield, have it here, and Cedric would have it here. But as you can see, they're knocking around, trying to make a little bit of inroads into the Southampton's defence, trying to find a way, but not having that much success. Meanwhile, Southampton are very happy to get the ball on the left wing, a little bit on the right wing, but nothing in the middle at all. Because they don't want to build from the back. They don't want to build from the middle. They don't want the ball here. They don't want to catch you on, Southampton don't want to get the ball here. They want to get the ball here. They want it so that their four players and their two midfielders are here when they get the ball. And then they've only got 30 yards to go. Instead of getting the ball here when they have 60. They want to get the ball as close to the goal as possible, leaving them less to do, and being able to create better chances. It's what Liverpool have done for 2.5 years, and they're the best in the world at it. They get the ball 20 yards out from goal, they give it to Salah, he shoots, he scores. It's simple. It's very hard to do, but it's simple. It's a simple tactic. You just need a lot of application, a lot of energy, and a lot of good preparation and good timing by the players. But here's the heat maps between the two sides on Saturday. Here they were tonight. They flipped. Southampton has 680 touches of the ball. Arsenal have 528 touches of the ball. Southampton are now the team that have a lot of the ball in front of the Arsenal penalty area, knocking it around. It's Arsenal now that doesn't have the ball in large parts of the midfield and are happy to get it high up the pitch. Arsenal have out Southampton. Simple as. They beat them at their own game. It took a lot of effort. I mean, we saw how Smith Rowe had to go off with hopefully cramp with 15 minutes to go. We saw Thomas Partey then soon follow suit with about 13-14 minutes to go. He also went off with cramp. And it was a lot of effort. It was a lot of just focus and making sure that Southampton didn't get into the channels they wanted to have the ball in, and also not giving up the ball in their own defence. And as a result, Arsenal were more than happy to let Southampton have the ball here whilst they had 8-9 back. They weren't getting caught on the counter. They weren't getting caught in transition. They were making sure that Southampton, in essence, had to keep the ball here with their centre backs and their full backs, which is not where Southampton wanted the ball at all. And as a result, Arsenal, in the FA Cup game, were hemmed in like this for most of the game, where they just couldn't get out of their own half, and Southampton pressed and pressed and pressed. And what Arsenal did to beat this was twofold. One, which takes a bit of bravery, but it's really the only way you can successfully take pressure off yourself. And it's counterintuitive. But anytime the fullbacks go forward and they try to basically add their weight of numbers to a press and try, you do this. You basically run up to the fullbacks and you get out of the way. And what you're doing is, and it's the biggest counter to what Marcelo Bielsa does at Leeds, because when he's pressing, these lads go all the way up here and he sends 8 men. It's again like American football. He sends the blitz. He's sending everyone at you. He's hoping that they get the ball here and then they only have 30 yards to go with the ball. How you beat that is you literally stick your wingers on the inside shoulders of the fullbacks. And what you are saying to those fullbacks is, I dare you. I dare you to go forward. I dare you to add your weight to the attack. I dare you. I dare you to trust your centre-backs and to trust your centre midfielders to cover your arse. Because if we get the ball to Xhaka or Partey, this ball is on. This ball is on. If Smith Rowe can get in with Lacazette, if Partey gets the ball here and Volkins doesn't get back and he beats Diallo, he's in. Saka runs, Pepe runs. It's 5-on-4 every time. So what happens is you make these fullbacks cautious. You make them reluctant. You make them, look around them and go, right, I don't think I can, push back forward as much as I want. So I'm going to sit back a little bit. And of course, as soon as he sits back, now the centre-backs have to go back, because if they don't, then Lacazette just goes in line with the fullback and he's onside. So now the defenders go back a little bit. Now, if the centre midfielders push like they usually do with a press, we'll have Smith Rowe there. If they try and get the press, and again, if one of the midfielders can get out, it's 5-on-4 again. So now the centre midfielders have to go back. And you can see the issue here. Now it's, instead of being 6-on-5 in Southampton's favour, now it's 5-on-4. And now it's on Xhaka and Partey to make room, to make sure that they're always available for a pass. Now Southampton can still press you. They can still, having 5-6 men press is still effective. And they were able to make some chances, especially Stuart Armstrong in the first half. But it wasn't suffocating. It wasn't relentless. It wasn't a constant pressure on the Arsenal defence. It let up at times because they weren't able to keep up the pressure. They weren't able to maintain that level of constant focus on a particular weak link at the back four, because there wasn't the same pressure coming from the front six, because they weren't able to go as far forward as they wanted to. They had to come back, because Arsenal's front four was putting pressure themselves on Southampton's defence, even without the ball. They were making sure that they had to respect the runs. And as a result, Arsenal were able to get the ball to Xhaka and Partey again and again. And what Xhaka and Partey did really well all game was not keep the ball. As soon as they got the ball, they got rid of it. As soon as Xhaka got the ball, it went to Pepe, it went to Smith Rowe. As soon as Partey got the ball, yes, he would try and beat a defender if Ward-Prowse and Diallo went on him. He was able to get around the two of them. There was one piece of skill in the first half. He did the most slow motion roulette you'll ever see in your life, but it worked. And suddenly it was into Smith Rowe and it was 4-on-4. They were constantly able to break Southampton's pattern of pressing and as a result create fantastic opportunities for themselves. And like I said, the first goal came from exactly that, where Xhaka picked. They were able to pick the ball up here. Bednarak and Valerie are there, Stevens are there, And because Valerie is not his namesake in Pro Evolution Soccer, where if it's as if you're as old as I am and you remember playing Master League and Pro Evo, and where they would give you a 3-back formation and they'd have Valerie on the bench, and you're like, the hell, he's my best fullback. I need him. He is not this Valerie. He's an okay player, but anytime Xhaka had the ball, Pepe was able to find this channel quite superbly. To the point that you have to start considering playing him left wing a lot, just because it felt a lot more natural for his style of running with the ball. He was constantly a threat to go both down this channel and down that channel. And when Xhaka found the ball, he was able to run through this channel. It's a perfect through ball. Pepe's 1-on-1. He puts it in the far corner and it's 1-1. And that was how Arsenal were able to break Southampton's throttle hold on the midfield. They were able to be a threat themselves. They weren't having to rely on Southampton making a mistake. They were able to pressure Southampton making a mistake. And as a result, Southampton weren't able to press with the same ferocity on Arsenal. But what really changed the game was this man here, Cedric, who showed that you don't have to be Tierney and be an absolute menace going down this way to cause an effect on a defence. All you have to do is be a threat. All you have to do is pose a question. And as a result, you will affect the whole defence, the whole back four. And because he was able to do that, he maintained a level of comfort for Saka all game that Saka would not have been able to even have if it wasn't for Cedric. And here's why. When we see Tierney play, Tierney is focused on one thing, that's getting there. And if you look at the heat map, you will see that Cedric does a good job of doing the same thing. He has a lot of the ball here and he's a lot of the ball there. He gets here quite a lot. But it's the subtlety of the way he gets there. Sometimes Valerie cuts in. And then Pepe will fill that space. And the automatic, the reflex action you will be, well, Valerie's going to try and cover Pepe there, so Cedric should take that. But we know that Cedric is right-footed. That would be, to go on his weaker foot. He's okay on his weaker foot, but the threat of him getting behind there is sometimes enough. But what he was magnificent at doing was not that at all. Because occasionally, what would happen was, Bednarek would go there. Valerie, seeing Pepe do that, would go there. And then Cedric would just stand right there and wait for the ball. And then suddenly, he's able to find this ball all the way to Saka. And he did it repeatedly. He did it at least 6 or 7 times. And eventually, Pepe would go here, would try and find that channel. Valerie, unable to cope with him, would try and, stay with him. Walcott is on the back of Cedric the same way Arsenal were pushing forward, trying to make sure that Arsenal's fullbacks wouldn't go forward. Cedric ignored him because he knew he had the pace to keep up with him, which he did. And Bednarek, realising that Pepe is a problem for Valerie, would scoot over. Lacazette now has all the space here. So what happens is Stevens will go over. And as a result, it's now Bukayo Saka, the best young player in England, versus Jake Volkins starting his second Premier League game. It's a mismatch. And Arsenal took advantage of it again and again and again, because poor Volkins had no idea which way Saka was going with the ball. Anytime, if you have watched the 4 or 5 videos that I've done when Pepe was playing, you will hear me constantly complaining and giving out and moaning about the fact that every time Pepe gets the ball, he goes this way. Every time. It's just the way he plays. And as a result, Diallo can go here, Stevens can go there, Volkins can go there, because they know for a shadow of a fact he is not doing that. He's never going to do that. He might beat them off the dribble, but he's always eventually going to do this. With Saka, Vulcans had no such luxury. Because Saka, as he showed for his second goal, doesn't really have a weak foot. Yes, his left foot is stronger, but if he needs to go this way, he can, and he will, and he did, as he showed for the third goal. If he needs to go that way, he can. If he wants to beat you with a trick, he can. He is a threat any which way you go, which means that you need help. But because Cedric is here, Stevens has to respect Lacazette there, and he has to respect Smith Rowe because Ward-Prowse is looking after Xhaka and Partey. And as a result, Cedric was given all the time in the world when Vulcans were trying to help Stevens. That ball there was on again and again and again. And to Cedric's credit, he found it again and again and again. And like I said, for the third goal, eventually, Vulcans finally realises that it's too late. Cedric plays it over the top to here. Saka's in. Stevens tries to cover. So does Bednarak. Lacazette goes, ha ha ha, I'm going back post. 3-1 game over. And it's that movement, again, it's that simple way of manipulating the defence that has been missing from Arsenal play for so long. And, you know, we credited Smith Rowe for it at times, who had a quiet game. Yes, he clearly lacking match fitness because he didn't play on Saturday and went off with an injury after 70 minutes tonight. But when Saka runs and you don't know where he's going, and Smith Rowe runs and you don't know where he's going, and Lacazette can come deep or go forward, he can be here, he can be here, he can be here. And you've got Partey, who has the ability to find all of them from deep, and you've got Xhaka, who has the ability to find them all from deep. And then you add in, whether it's Tierney when he's fit to do this, Cedric to do this, Bellerin to do the same on the right. You have a dangerous side. And it's a case of now adding players to this that can fit into that system and can basically make this the template where, yes, it's going to take a lot of effort. We see it with, you know, Pep Guardiola sides for a decade. They're magnificent in December. They're wrecked by April because they play a similar style. They play a similar of pushing you back, making you take the risks, and then capitalising on your mistakes. It's exactly what Arsenal did tonight. It was a professional performance. And you could see at the end of the game, they were all exhausted. You know, they were made run by a Southampton team that is far better at this style of play than they are. But they, you know, fought fire with fire. And it'll be interesting to see on Saturday evening against Manchester United whether they do the same thing, because they showed in Old Trafford that if they have to play like this against a team that wants to stick back like United can, they can pounce. And good Lord, were United horrible at playing the ball out to the back against Liverpool twice. You know, they're in great form. They're top of the league for a reason. We're not going to give Solskjaer any credit because we think the players are carrying them, and we're probably right. But, you know, Arsenal are going to have to be a lot more wary of threats down the wing, because that's not going to be Armstrong and Walcott. That's going to be Martial and Rashford. So it's going to be interesting, but if Smith Rowe's fit, he plays. If Saka fits, he plays. God willing, if Aubameyang can play, he plays. But Pepe in tonight's showing has shown a lot more promise from this performance than he has playing from the right in a long time. Like, this is the first time Pepe's looked like he fits in. So there's a lot to build on tonight. It's a promising performance. The worry for me is that, yes, Arsenal have engaged themselves in a very good run of form lately. They've beaten Chelsea, beaten Brighton, beaten West Brom, although everyone's beaten West Brom right now. Sam Allardyce has played 4 games at home in the league and they're losing 17-0 at home. Beaten Newcastle, drew to Palace, a little bit fortunate, beat Newcastle, lost to Southampton in the Cup, but then beat Southampton. Like, they're in good form, but West Brom, Brighton, Newcastle, Palace, Southampton, Chelsea. They've capitalised on a run of fixtures that, yes, okay, Chelsea shouldn't be there, but it's been an easy run of fixtures. They're winning the games they should be winning, and we can't criticize that. But the next few games is where we're going to find out whether this team is learning how to play or not, because it's the league leaders next, followed by Wolves away on Tuesday night, which is always a tricky game. I know they're not in fantastic form, but Willian Jose from Real Sociedad's a good player. He might cause them trouble. Villa, they're a good side. Leeds, who can do anything, and then the Europa League kicks in. And then it's City, and then it's Leicester, and then it's Spurs, and then it's West Ham, and then it's Liverpool. I Eighth looks a little bit high right now. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's pessimism mode me. If you're a long term listener of the Daily Cannon Weekly podcast, you will know this by now. But I'm not on the hype train we're fixed yet. There's still a lot of work to be done. If Martin Odegaard comes in and he's there instead of Pepe, and Saka goes left wing and Odegaard goes right wing and Smith Rowe plays through the middle, or if Odegaard and Smith Rowe swap, I'm a lot more comfortable with that than I am with this. This is still a work in progress. Is this centre back good enough? No. Is Poling good enough? Maybe. Tierney obviously going to come there. My feelings on Xhaka are well documented. There's still a lot to build here. If the long term goal is to get from there to here, they're a long way away. And yes, this is a promising bit of form, but that's all it is. It's a bit of form. They need to turn this from a 6-game run into a 10-game, an 11-game, 12-game. And then we'll start to see whether there's actually green shoots going forward. That's it from this episode of Daily Cannon's Tactics Board. I've been Stephen Bradley, and again, if you have enjoyed this content, please feel free to leave a like, comment, or subscribe to the channel. Any feedback is greatly appreciated, and we'll see you Saturday night after the United game. Cheers.